بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. كيفكم؟ I've seen here just Afrah and Fulan. Well, I don't know, your name is not clear here. Anyway. What about my voice? Is it clear? Can you see the PowerPoint? Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Please reply if you can hear me right on the chat. The chat is open. Okay, let's start. So the other day we stopped at the point where we talked about the phonemes and the allophones and the distribution. We said that the phonemes are abstract mental entities, whereas the allophones are concrete physical ones. The phonemes have the distinctive features or contrastive features, whereas the allophones are non-distinctive sounds. They are predictable because they occur in complementary distribution. They occur in different environments, whereas the phonemes are distinctive and they are unpredictable because they occur in the same position. Or sometimes we say they are in overlapping distribution or in contrastive distribution. We find the phonemes at the phonemic or phonological level, whereas the allophones are found at the phonetic level, because at the phonetic level the sounds are realized in more than one phonetic form. The terms I asked you to focus on in the section we have covered, which is chapter, 8, phonemic analysis. Phonemes, allophones, phonetic similarity, distribution, complementary distribution, overlapping distribution, predictability, and free variation. Remember distribution, we said it's the phonetic environment where the sound occur, and we have types, complementary and overlapping. Complementary distribution is when the sounds occur in different environments. In overlapping or distinctive or contrastive distribution, the sounds occur in identical environments, meaning they occur in the same position. Today we'll talk about the levels of sound representation. The levels of sound representation. So we said that to characterize the relationship or to show the relationship between the phonemes of a language and the allophones or the phonetic segments, phoneticians usually distinguish between two levels of sound representation: the phonological level and the phonetic level. Look at the comparison in this slide between the two levels. The phonemic or the phonological, when I say phonemic or phonological, I mean the same thing. Phonological or phonemic level, this level is has the mental representation of the sound, whereas at the phonetic level we have the physical sound representation. At the phonemic level or phonological level, we have the phonemes, and usually the phonemic symbols, when we use them, we put them between two slants. The allophones, which are the variants of the phoneme, the physical entities, these are always enclosed between two square brackets. The phonemic level has the distinctive features that characterize the sounds, whereas the phonetic level has the distinctive and the non-distinctive features, or sometimes we call them redundant features. In general, we consider the phonemic or phonological level the underlying level, and we consider the phonetic level the surface level. For example, at the underlying level in German, this symbol stands for H. It is realized in two ways. It has two variants or two phonetic forms, the H and the Ch. After back vowels, it is produced as H, and after front vowels, it is produced as Ch. So at the phonological level, which is underlying level, the H is the sound representation, whereas at the phonetic level, it is realized sometimes as H, sometimes as Ch, depending on the context or the environment. We go back here to the example from English, the sound La. The sound La. The sound La is a voice, alveolar lateral. Sometimes it is realized as soft La, as in lake when it occurs initially, and when it occurs finally, it is realized as well, full. It's a dark La. We call it a dark La. Here we have two variants of the sound La. Depending on their occurrence in certain environment, initial position or final position, they are produced in two different phonetic forms. And accordingly, we can give the broad transcription of a word and the narrow transcription of the word. So in the narrow transcription, we use more diacritics to show more features. These two levels, the phonological level and the phonetic level, are linked by using a number of rules, phonological rules. Sometimes we call them the linking rules because they link the two levels, or they map between the phonological level and the phonetic level. So mapping between the two levels is accomplished by using phonological rules. And these phonological rules are actually part of the competence of the speaker. It's part because your competence or your language faculty, which is located in the brain, it is abstract, you can see that it contains rules. We have phonological rules, morphological rules, syntactic rules, and also semantic rules. So these phonological rules are part of your knowledge of the language, and they allow you to translate or convert the phonemic form into the phonetic one, or the phonemic level into the phonetic one. Look at this chart. It shows here how the phonological rules link the two levels, or convert the phonological level into the phonetic form level. So all the languages have this type of rules that convert the phonological representations into phonetic ones. For example, look at this example from English. We have the word can. The word can. In the first line here, we have the utterances. I can ask, I can see, I can ask. Try to repeat or to say it also, and raise your voice and listen to yourself and try to feel the production of the sound na. I can ask, I can see. So what you are actually producing is na by touching the alveolar ridge with the tip of the tongue. Now move to the second line. Try to produce these utterances. I can bake, I can play. I can bake, I can play. What are you actually producing? Is it still na, the tip of the tongue touching the alveolar ridge? No. Here what we are actually producing is not a na but a ma. I can play, I can bake. In the third line, we have I can go, I can come. Again, here we are not producing the na as an alveolar na. What we are actually producing is the sound in instead of the na, and producing the velar sound in. So what happens here, in the underlying level, the na is there at the phonological level. But when I actually produce the sound, because of a certain environment, I'm producing other forms, other phonetic forms. Or we say that the sound is realized in more than one form, sometimes as ma, sometimes as ing, depending on the environment. Before bilabials or labial stops, the na becomes a ma, or the na is produced as ma. Before velar, if you can see here, I can go, the ga, I can come, the ka. So the ka and the ga are following the sound na. That's why the na is produced as ing. And again, if you look, I can bake, I can play, the na is followed by pa and pa. These are labials. So that's why the na becomes a ma, or the na is produced as ma, changing from alveolar to bilabial because it is followed by a bilabial sound. In the third, we have the na alveolar becoming ing velar because it is followed by the ka and the ga, which are also velars. Here we have another example from English also. We have please, the word please. Here we have the broad transcription, and then at the phonetic level we have it in a narrow transcription. So the first transcription at the phonological level, here I have the sound ka, la, e, and za. Look at the narrow transcription. It gives you more explanation or more information about the sound. If you look, for example, at if I give the features of the sound pa, it is a voiceless, bilabial, stop. But here in the narrow transcription, I've added another feature which is aspirated. There is another feature which is aspirated. So it's a voiceless, bilabial, aspirated stop. The la, it's a voiced, alveolar, lateral. Here in the narrow transcription, there is a small circle under the la to show that this la has lost the voicing feature and it's been devoiced, because it is preceded by a voiceless sound, which is the sound pa. The E, the vowel E, it's a high front vowel, high front tense vowel, but here we have two dots after the E to show that the sound has been lengthened here. It goes it has been lengthened a little bit because, again, of a certain environment, because it is followed by a voiced consonant. So the derivation here takes place via three rules. The derivation of the form from the phonological level to the phonetic level, or from the phonological form to the phonetic form, by using three rules. The first one is aspiration rule. The second is a liquid devoicing rule. And the third is the vowel lengthening rule. So we have three rules to derive please from the phonological level into its phonetic form at the phonetic level. Now we move to section or chapter 9, where we have the phonological rules, processes, and alternations. Phonological rules, processes, and alternations. What you will learn in this chapter, the difference between phonological rules, these terms, rules, processes, and alternations. What's the difference between the three terms? Alternation types, phonological and phonetic and morphological, and lexical conditioning. Non-phonological alternations like suppletion, the suppletion process, and then you'll learn how to write the rules in a formal way, or formal rule writing. Processes are actually adjustments in the articulation of sounds. Processes are adjustments in the process, in the production of the sounds. Rules are actually classified according to the kind of the process that they involve. Whereas the alternations are caused by or occur due to some phonological processes and characterized by means of rules. Try to get the book, yeah, Afrah, it's available everywhere. The slides not enough. You have to study from both. So the alternations are caused by or due to some phonological processes, and they are characterized by means of rules. Rules can be given in formal statements. These formal statements express the relationship between the phonological form and the phonetic form. Alas, the processes are adjustments of the articulation of the sounds. We can explain this by giving rules. These rules are going to describe, the change that takes place. And the result is the alternations. Now we give examples to understand the three terms. Okay, look at the aspirated pa and the unaspirated pa. These are alternations, alternatives. The pa is in alternation with the aspirated pa. The process here that took place is aspiration. The process, we call it here aspiration. Now we want to write a rule. When we have the aspirated pa, a voiceless stop is aspirated when it occurs in word or syllable initial position before a stressed vowel. So this rule describes the aspiration rule, and this process, when it is accomplished, it gives me this alternation, the unaspirated pa and the aspirated pa. I'm going to aspirate the sound whenever it occurs in initial position. If it's not initial position, it's not going to be aspirated. So we call the process, when I ask what's the process, you have to tell me aspiration, volatilization, etc. And then if I ask you to write me a rule, you can write the rule in a form of a statement. In regular English words, you say a voiceless stop is aspirated because it occurs initially in a word or in a syllable before a stressed vowel. This is a rule. You can express this rule in another way. Instead of using words, we can write it in a formula. We write it in linguistic notation, like this. Between slants, I put the sound pa, and then we use an arrow to show the change or to say that this sound has changed into or becomes. It could be becomes also. And then between square brackets, we put the sound after the change. Now it is aspirated. You can see from this small H. For the diacritics, please go to Roger's book, the one you took in phonetics, in the phonetics course. There is a whole page that has all these diacritics, this small circle for devoicing and the small H for aspiration, the two dots for lengthening, and many others. So here we say that the pa has become aspirated. The pa has become aspirated. In what environment? Now here I express the environment. When it occurs initially, so we use this boundary mark, and then a short, then a line, and then we put the vowel because of its stress. So initially before a stressed vowel. Or we can write the same rule just using the features. Minus continuous, minus voice, minus tilde becomes aspirated whenever it occurs in initial position, followed by a stressed vowel. So plus syllabic and plus stress. It means the vowel that has a stress. Here we have another alternations. We have the E and the nasalized E. E, we know that all the vowels in English are oral, but sometimes they are nasalized when they occur before nasal consonants. So E is nasalized, and sometimes here it is lengthened. In the example, seat versus seam. Seat versus seam. Here the E is nasalized because it is followed by a nasal consonant, And it is also lengthened because it is followed by a voiced consonant. So here we have the alternations, the E oral and the E nasal. And the process is what? The process is vowel nasalization. And then we can write a rule. So we say the alternations, the E and the E oral nasalized. The process is vowel nasalization, and the rule is what? You can write it. The E that is oral has changed into a nasalized, or the vowel has been nasalized because it is followed by a nasal consonant. Again, we have the alternations, the E short and the E long. It has been lengthened, the E has been lengthened because it is followed by a voice consonant, and this is the rule. The process is called vowel lengthening. Look at B. Here we have other examples for alternations: inactive, impossible, and incapable. The alternations here are the na, the ma, and ing. Similar to I can bake, I can play, I can go, I can come, and I can ask. So we have the alternations: na in alternation with ma, in alternation with ing. So the na sometimes is realized as ma or as ing, depending again on the environment. So these are the alternations. What's the process and what's the rule? Then we decide which process has taken place here. It's actually the alveolar stop assimilation. It's a kind of assimilation. We call it alveolar stop. Now we write a rule. Now we try to write a rule. So we say that the na alveolar becomes ma bilabial because it is followed by a bilabial sound. And the na is alveolar becomes velar whenever it is followed by a velar sound. So we have alternations, then we give the process, and then we write a rule. Here we have in C another example for alternations, processes, and rules. Books, dogs, kisses. The S plural here is realized in 3 phonetic forms: sa, or za, or is. These phonetic forms are determined by the phonetic environment. Sa is preceded by a voiceless consonant. Za is realized when it is preceded by a voiced consonant like the ga. And is realized whenever the word ends in one of the sibilants, the sa or za, sha and ja, and cha and ja. Again, here we have the phonetic environment determines the choice of one of these alternations. Leaf and versus leaves. Here we have the fa becomes a va. We have a change from voiceless to voiced. So these are alternations. Electric, it ends with the ka. But when you add the morpheme ity, we don't say electricity, we say electricity. So we have a change from ka to sa. Again, these two are alternatives. Now we talk about these examples again with more details. When we talk about phonological conditioning, morphological conditioning, or both. Here we have to check the environment, as I told you. Look at the preceding sound, at the following sound, what determines the change. Then we identify the process and we write the phonological rule. So you ask yourself, are these alternations phonetically conditioned, phonetically and morphologically conditioned, or phonetically, morphologically, and lexically conditioned? Again, we go back to the same examples, and we discuss the phonological conditioning and the phonetic or morphological conditioning. If you look at the alternations in A and B, the examples we discussed before, A and B, I'm repeating them again here if you look at the slide. When we say phonetically conditioned, meaning that they are determined by the phonetic environment. They are determined by the phonetic environment. Seat versus seam. Look at the arrow showing the following sound. So E, in alternation with E, one is oral and one is nasalized. We said this, they are determined by the environment, which is here the following sound, which is nasal. In B, inactive, impossible, incapable, we said that here the ma and the na and the ing are their choice or their production is determined by the environment when they are followed by bilabials or when they are followed by velars. So here in both cases, we say that the alternations are phonetically conditioned. In the examples, books and dogs and kisses, books and dogs and kisses, here we have the alternations are phonetically and morphologically conditioned. Why they are phonetically and morphologically conditioned? Morphologically conditioned because we add a morpheme, and after adding the morpheme, we have the changes taking place. We add the plural morpheme, and then according to the preceding sound, after adding this morpheme, if the preceding sound is voiceless, then we produce sa. If it is voiced, then we produce za. If it is preceded with one of the sibilants, then we produce the plural as is, like watches, roses, kisses, churches, edges, and so on. The plural morpheme here has been added, and it has different phonetic forms depending on the final sound in the stem. Alternations in D and E, like leave and leaf, electricity, these are phonetically, morphologically, and lexically conditioned. They are determined by the phonetic environment. So here we have phonetic conditioning, because here we have voicing assimilation. The fa becomes a va because of the sound, the neighboring sound, which is the leaves. After adding the plural morpheme to leaf, it becomes leaves. So the fa becomes a va because the neighboring sound is the. There are exceptions, like for example chef and roof. Here actually we don't change the fa to va, but we keep it as is, and we produce the plural morpheme as sa. Electric and electricity. Here we have the change from ka to sa. When we add the morpheme ity, we don't say electricity, we say electricity. What happens here is the ka becomes a sa. The ka is a back consonant, whereas the sa is a front consonant. So we call that velar fronting or velar softening. The rule we are going to write is the velar stop ka is fronted to sa before the high front tense vowel e. So here, this happens actually in particular lexical items. That's why we say it is also lexically conditioned. Lexically conditioned. And it's not always the case that the ka becomes a sa in all the words. But sometimes in some words, in some lexical items, we have the change from ka to sa. Okay, that's enough for today. I want you from now on to get with you the supplementary material, which is language files. Language files, as I told you, you can get it from Khawarizm. You can get it from Khawarizm. Because when I want you to study phonological rules, I want you to study from your textbook. But there are some phonological rules not mentioned in the main textbook, so I want you to go back to language files to use the supplementary material. So you study from both, from the main textbook, from language files, and from the slides if you want. Because there is a file in this supplementary material on how to solve phonology exercises. So we'll be analyzing data. From now on, if you did not get this supplementary material, please try to get it tomorrow or during the weekend from خوارزم اللي في الجامعة أو اللي خارج الجامعة. Okay, I don't mind if you, I want to give you an extra class, remember, because we missed one of the classes. You want to come to the university at the Afrah ولا مين? You want to meet me at my office? Yes, no problem. You can come on Sunday. But are you allowed to come on Sunday? Because I know that there are special days for الحضانة انتساب التعليم عن بعد. You have 2 days. You are allowed to come. Just I don't know, but I'm not sure which ones. No problem. But please try to get language files. طيب? Ask for language files, the one for phonology, and give them the number of the course and my name as well. Do you have any questions concerning what we have covered today? I want to give you an extra class, Tawili, for the class we missed, I think, last week, because the system was, something wrong with the system. So I'll give it to you, inshallah, this coming Saturday. Which time do you prefer? Which time do you prefer? في الظهر نعملها في الظهر أو الساعة 4 العصر. Shall we make it 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock? Yes, في مبنى الجوهرة يعني. مش نفس الوقت يعني زي كده 7:30 في يوم السبت. طيب اوكي. Okay, I'll give you the class around 3 o'clock. Make it 3:30, okay? 3:30 ولا نصلي العصر ونبدأ, which is better. Okay, 3:30. 3:30 this coming Saturday, inshallah. If you are on a group with the students, you can tell them, with the other students. And I try to send an email through the Blackboard. Next time we'll talk about the types of phonological rules. We talk about the assimilation and dissimilation, or we discuss all the assimilatory processes like vowel lengthening, vowel nasalization, palatalization, alveolar stop assimilation, vowel harmony, and many others, in addition to dissimilation rules. And we'll talk about insertion, about deletion, about metathesis, and I'll give you examples from English, Arabic, and other languages as well. And when we finish discussing all the phonological rules and their types, we'll start, analyzing data. I'll show you how to analyze the phonological structure of any language, and what are the steps that you follow when you solve phonological exercises or phonological problems. So please, I want the textbook with you and the supplementary material, which is language 5. Do you have any questions? Okay. والله اليوم مرة مصدعة ماني قادرة صداع عندي very bad headache. Okay, I'll stop here. The exam will be miscellaneous questions. We have true or false questions. We have multiple choice, and you have fill in the blanks. You have exercises like some of them are data analysis. I give you data from English or any other language, and you analyze them. You write the rules in formal way. Sometimes I give you the rule in English, in regular English, and you give me the rule in in formula. Someone will teach you how to write the rules, and the vice versa. Sometimes I give you the words at the phonological level and at the phonetic level, and you have to figure out the changes, and you give me the name of the process, and you write rules as well. And some of the questions are related to something like this. Clear? طيب. Any more questions? Today nobody is here, just Afrah and just two of you. Where are the others? Where are the other students? You don't know them? Are you in contact with in one group? طيب inshallah. Thank you, Afrah. يعني زعتر you boil it in water and then زعتر أخضر, you mean green? Okay, Allah يسلمكم. Thank you very much. I'll stop here now. Assalamu alaikum.